book, Leadership and the Rise of Great Power. So when you wrote this book, did you have the topic of China becoming a rising power, a superpower?
I regard China as a rising power, and I predict that China will be a superpower by 2023 because, on the one hand, China is reducing the capability gap with the United States. On the other hand, China and the U.S. simultaneously enlarge the capability gap with the rest of the world. So that's why I regard China as a rising power.
But how about the relations between the two? Who will take a predominant role in their relations, say 10 years down the road?
Okay, at this moment, American definitely hold the upper hand, and China in an unfavorable position. In 10 years, I think the situation cannot change. And 15 years is possible, but definitely not 10 years.
So if this is a transitional period, what will be the change of power, focus, affect international relations?
All of the other countries will face the pressure from the competition between China and the U.S. to take sides. And like the Pompeo traveled among Americans' allies to ask them to take sides with the U.S. on issue of the 5G. Canada, Australia take sides with the U.S., and Japan took sides with the U.S. December of last year, but then they suddenly changed early this month. And UK and the other European countries, from the very beginning, they take sides with China.
If China wants to be a superpower and in a leadership position, how can China move in that direction?
Most important thing is to keep the promise good. That means never promise anything beyond our capability. So reduce the promise and to keep all promise implemented, and then we can create the credibility. Gradually, the improvement of the strategic credibility will bring about leadership.
What do you think will be the international order in the coming decade?
From my understanding, next 10 years, and there will be more conflicts among nations. There's less peaceful settlements, and there will be more violation of norms. So I think in the next 10 years, the world order will be worse than the current situation or the last 10 years. But there's no danger of a grand war. There's no danger of a direct war among major powers. There's not only no danger of war, direct war between China and the U.S., there's even no direct war between any major powers.
So no world war, but small conflicts. What kind of conflicts we're looking at? Brexit?
Not only Brexit, I think there will be more military conflicts.
Military conflicts?
Yeah, among the regional powers, like Middle East, Africa.
Why?
There's no leadership, there's no order. Leadership is based on capability and material resources, and the U.S. feel it's too expensive to offer a global leadership. Meanwhile, China do not have that kind of resources to support a global leadership.
When can we see the end of the tunnel?
I'm very pessimistic. I don't think we will see the light of this tunnel within 20 years. 10 years, and there's a very slight hope to change the situation.
What would be your advice to policymakers, not only now, but for future generations in U.S. and China?
I would suggest them and to considering and focus on their strategy on material interests rather than on ideological interests, and ignore the ideological conflicts or differences. Embrace different values and in different civilization or culture, and then create a kind of a new value.
On that cautiously optimistic note,
Thank you.
we end our talks with Professor Yan Xuetong. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.